And the first answer we're going to have is that they will not be changing up that Vladimir ban.
All right, so no Vlad ban. Ryze, however, is taken off the table. Somewhat unexpected on maybe the Roccat side, but that makes answers or life a little easier here for H2K, and they take Kindred off the table.
So now Roccat can take Nidalee off the table and look to first pick Elise, or neutralize the jungle pool completely, leave none of them up with the Elise ban, or leave Elise and Nidalee. There are so many options in this triangle that Roccat could look to go for. But also Lucian is available, could look for first pick.
Do you think it would be a departure though? Because we didn't see jungle priority in the previous game.
No.
And I think with the Maokai ban, that answers at least some of that question. There was a long hover on Maokai before being swapped to the Gnar in game 1. And H2K, now they have to answer the question. Do they take a second jungler? Do they leave Lucian up and let Lucian get first picked for Steelback, who just got player of the game in his first performance here in summer?
Betsy.
Betsy.
It's okay.
As you were saying,
we possibly could have, but you asked the question, would Jayce still be banned? Yes, it will be, Trevor. And we are in a situation where there is so much available for first pick right now. You can pick whatever you want out of the jungle. You could pick Lucian for the AD carry if you want it. There's some top laners still around. There's mid laners still there. Now it depends. What do Roccat take? What do they give 2 strong picks over to H2K?
And it's very important because we have no trends to discuss, as these are the first showings of both teams. So now the Nidalee's locked in. It's showing some priority here from the Roccat squad. They went Ekko Kindred game 1, Nidalee game 2.
Lucian Trundle would be one of the stronger lock-ins here. And they go with the Lucian. It's not the Trundle for the flex pick. It's the Ekko for the flex pick. So it could be mid, could be top. Maybe Roccat will answer with the Trundle here for themselves. H2K are in no rush to get their jungle pick coming out. Because now they can just go, okay, do we want Elise? Do we want something like a Gragas? The Rek'Sai we've started to see in LCK as well.
And Trundle top, is that what you're expecting? It's more likely than support? Or do you think
honestly,
support comes back here in EU?
It depends on the number of tanks on the opposing side, because if you don't have too many tanks, then you probably don't even prioritize the Trundle, but if you're flexing him, you have that safety. Avoid a matchup that particularly you don't want up in that top side and completely swap your game plan around.
Okay, so it gives you the opportunity. So one more of those power flexes. The Swain is locked in for the second time for Roccat, though this time could be a flex. We know it could go into Hwoarang's hands. I mean, technically with the Ekko it could have been as well. But we do expect that Ekko to go top. So how do H2K respond? What do they run into Swain, knowing Ryze is gone, which is what was played last time?
Yeah, at this point, you're looking at it, they could pick a team fighter like a Lissandra here. Not great against the Swain straight up, but when you look at melting everybody else that's around them in that fight, that's where they could go. But it's the Bard that I want to talk about here, because with Lucian locked in for H2K already, on the other side now, if we see a Caitlyn go along with this Bard, that's a very difficult lane to deal with. Could also see a Sivir, anything here that can kind of combo with that high damage potential in the laning phase and the catch potential as the game opens up.
All right, catch potential is the name of the game for Braum and Lee Sin and Ekko. Good luck either running away or sticking to that group of champions, because they all have a ton of mobility in one way, shape or form. Lee Sin was played by Jankos 5 times last split. He went 4-1 in spring. Had a very good showing, and this is one of the champions that he tends to go off on at times. If he can find his groove. That's the call, right? If he's able to get to a good start. 10 seconds there for Roccat. The Caitlyn is being hovered. It is something that we can expect, because it can do very well into that Lucian. It also gives Steelback, again, another long-range champion. Didn't feel comfortable with the Jhin, considering, I think, all of the mobility on the side of H2K.
Nautilus locked in for the top lane. That is something that here in Europe we've not seen in quite a while here. It's going to be Hwoarang that is playing it. Has been played in the LPL. 957's been playing that for World Elite. Just a handful of games since they've restarted for the summer split. So we'll see. Had mixed success for 957 in their best of 2 against, I believe it was Royal Never Give Up.
So this is an interesting team comp from Roccat.
Yeah.
You've got fairly strong engage from the Bard, the Nautilus. You've got very long range with the Nidalee, the Caitlyn. I think you've even got a good front line with that Swain Nautilus as well, but it's little bits of everything locked in on the side of H2K. What do you make of it, as it looks like that Viktor's most likely going to be on the side of H2K.
Well, for Roccat, they have themselves so much kind of catch potential with that front line as well. You've got the Nautilus hook, you've got the Never Move coming out, the Bard ultimate. Problem is, you're playing catch on the side for H2K as well. When you look at the Lee Sin, the Braum, you've got that sense of disengage here as well. Now you've got damage coming out for team fights from this Viktor. High burst potential, a lot of wave clear too. So H2K, they're playing a bit of a mix composition where they're not always looking for team fights, but they have the ability to. I'm interested to see how the damage is going to come out from Ryu, though.
I also think there's a slightly elegant solution to Swain.
Yeah, kick him away.
Just get rid of him. Give him a roundhouse kick to the head and hope you can kill everything that he knocks up into the air before he can come back. So there's your team compositions. No more swapping taking place. Swain back in that middle lane. Standard lanes or lane swaps. Last game, Roccat initiated a delayed lane swap. It didn't really work out for them. I feel they fell a little bit behind in tempo. But the one thing that came out of it was a strong farm advantage for Steelback.
If I'm Lucian Braum, I probably don't want to be in standard lanes against Caitlyn Bard. You look at the amount of lockdown potential, Cosmic Binding into Trap, into Meep follow-up with auto attacks. Oh man, you do not want to deal with that amount of damage, so we may very well see the swap come out in this game.
We'll find out if H2K can make that work. Jump on Twitter. They are down 0-1 in this series. Give them their support, hashtag H2K win or hashtag ROC win. And I can't wait to see. There's a Twitter question today. Who do you think won or lost the offseason? And I wonder how many people were talking about Roccat. This result, this game, might actually spark some of that discussion.
May very well. I still that victory over Vitality at the beginning of last split always just sticks in my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, Roccat doing well in the first week, and then unfortunately it wasn't the best of regular splits for them. But this again is a good start to their campaign. Already 1 point. That's the thing about best of twos. They have at a minimum locked in 1 point for themselves. Potential to take away all three and deny H2K any points from day one.
Yeah, we'll find out if they can. As you can see on stage, our QA team are just with freeze. I got the note from production saying freeze client restart. So I don't know if that means freeze the player. I had to client restart or if his client froze.
Why?
Regardless. I have not missed this, Trevor. I've not had the pleasure of shoutcasting freeze in a while. So, you know, forgive me if I'm a little bit chilly with some of the puns.
It's going to take me a while to warm up to this.
That's
all I'll say
yes.
On
this one.
Yes. What didn't seem to take a while to warm up was Roccat in the last game. A little overconfident, perhaps, with some of Airwaks' moves in the jungle. Yes. Getting caught out, ended up, after getting first blood, then giving away the next kill in that game.
Now, I actually remember Airwaks doing that in Spring as well. I remember Airwaks being very aggressive, very in the opponent jungler's face.
Yeah.
And it's something he needs to rein in. It's something that once a team learns, you do again and again and again, you can punish. And we'll find out if H2K can punish Airwaks this time around. Especially when you look at Jankos' champion choice. Lee Sin, early game, get involved, get in there. That's what he wants to do.
Oh, Vander. New split.
Oopsie.
The nerves have set in. Hey, at least they give you the trinket automatically now as you leave the base.
Hey, I would have forgot to buy that as well. Vander, of course, no items just yet. Hey, maybe it's next level. Maybe there's a strategy.
Yeah, he's actually just going to like save up once the gold generation starts.
A little chuckle here in the studio as everyone notices. Level 1! The madness is down!
No, Vander!
The trap tag's on Vander! He hasn't got any items, but he's going to be able to walk away. Less than 100 hit points. Down to 86! Javelin toss. Almost finds Vander.
Oh, there was some clenching there, I think, from the H2K side of things, getting Vander away from that. I mean, he would have been able to get back to buy. Let's not joke around too much about that, but at the same time, now, hey, it forced him back. Lets him get his items. He realizes...
What it does do is avoids any of those deep wards as well.
Did you miss me, Trevor?
I do indeed, Stressy Poo. The lack of deep vision means it's a guessing game if they're going to go full lane swap. So, do H2K call a bluff, or do they double bluff and actually not do anything and therefore avoid the Australia standard lanes?
So at this point, Roccat, they're blind swapping, anticipating the swap to come out from H2K. There is one thing about blind swapping right now that actually can be favorable to you. And generally, we're seeing a lot of teams just do it because either way, when they have the stronger 2v2, they're going to be able to hold on to things. And you can see Steelback, they have the stronger 2v2 with the Bard here as well. But what this is going to allow them to do is swap back to get some sense of Dragon control. And either they get Dragon priority, or they get the beneficial 2 versus 2 in this top lane. So they are going to be able to swap after the first turret goes down, after they get the push.
So find out if they can get that tower and how they work around it. Find out if anybody gets their hands on the Rift Herald that plays it a little more effectively, though Parang might have less of a use, I feel, with that wave clear duty.
Hey man, he gets that damage reduction when he's on his own.
Hey, damage reduction on that melee minion as Odo's actually TP'd in for this one. Not 100% ideal.
But look at it, Parang was already on his way up to the top side, so it actually means TP advantage is heavily in favor of Roccat, and that's because H2K did not have vision on where Parang actually was on the map. So yes, it gives H2K the push now, and a fairly fast push when you look at this as well. This is already well ahead of what Roccat were doing. But still, how does that TP now affect the next phase of this? Look at it, Odoamme level 2, Parang still level 1 here as well. Roccat are behind the tempo. Now, do H2K go for the Dragon here and recall for standard lane bot side? The answer to that is no, because Ryze is already recalling. It would have lost them too much tempo.
Absolutely would have. It's another Ocean Drake, same as actually game 1. We saw quite a few of those. Tower still yet to fall for Roccat up top. Let's take a look at the hit points. Not many. Will most likely die on this wave, especially with all 3 around.
I was cursed, by the way, during EU Challenger that the first 5 games I had was all air drakes, cloud drakes to start. Maybe it's ocean ones for today.
We'll find out. We got 2 more games after this one,
Huh.
and we can keep track. And actually, the tower doesn't fall, so this is a
big
mistake on the side of Roccat. Betsy
Mid lane.
forced to use the exhaust already. Javelin connects onto Ryu.
Oh, they cancel TP.
Away.
The advantage that Roccat had from not using TP has now completely gone down the pan. They didn't even get themselves the tower, and now H2K can clear this out. This is a big blunder for Roccat as this game starts.
Monumental mistakes. Down 1,000 gold. H2K hold on to their top tower. They also get the exhaust and the TP. So, additional summoner spells here for the mid laner. Luckily, though, Betsy didn't overcommit. Still has flash if he gets caught out.
And a lot of people may at this point be thinking, well, you know, you're speaking about how Caitlyn Bard has this preferential lane here in the 2 versus 2. The problem is H2K had the ability to go back and buy. They purchased additional items now. You can see the cull, extra potions and that coming out from H2K. So Roccat really needed to get that tower down and recall to either even it up bottom side now or go back to the top side and force a 2v2 where they did have the advantage.
Instead, though, the pressure is on the middle lane. Betsy should be going down. Flash forward from Jankos. Airwaks tries to put pressure down, but it's Jankos, the king of First Bloods, that secures it.
Yeah, King of First Bloods manages to get Betsy down, and that is going to hold the Swain a little bit more. That does also allow Roccat a little bit of freedom in the top side, but it's a consolation prize compared to what H2K just picked up from mid lane. Vander's going back up to the top side, is going to join Lucian and be able to hold that 2v2.
Oh, take a look at this. The tower advantage, the kill advantage, there's a CS advantage for Ryu. It's already 2,000 gold by 5.5 minutes. That is a massive lead here for H2K.
And at that point, if you're forced to flash away from Gravity Field this early on, that tells you you're too far pushed up in that lane looking for that harass. Typically, the lockdown from Gravity Field is fairly easy to avoid. Freeze takes the damage.
Damage there from Steelback and Ryze, but they're still on the defensive. They've yet to buy. Steelback sitting on 1,300 gold. So if he continues to survive a little while longer, may be able to come back with additional combat stats.
Yeah, and that was just good knowledge from Ryu in the mid lane, knowing that he was forcing a flash either way from the Gravity Field because Betsy was being over-aggressive and gets punished for it. Betsy also didn't have his ultimate available, neither did Ryu, and Ryu still doesn't either. So this mid lane is still teetering as we reach that level 6 mark, but Ryu, with the Viktor, is going to have teamfight presence way before Betsy is going to be able to sit in the team fights and deal damage.
It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Betsy can sustain and survive the burst that Viktor puts down. I think one of my favorite changes from the 6.9 Mage update was just how much damage that Chaos Storm tick can do when it bursts people down. Betsy's going to be one of the prime targets on Ryu's hit list, especially after losing game 1.
Man, these Cosmic Bindings keep landing from Ryze. First time we're really seeing Ryze.
Ooh, the Redline doesn't find a target. Parang flashes forward, locks on Jankos for a few seconds, follows through a second kill for H2K. And that's picked up by Jankos.
And we spoke coming out of game one about how were Roccat going to fix their early game, because there were issues here, and you can see they're having similar problems again. This time, they don't have a massive CS lead coming out of the lane swap in favor of Steelback. Freeze is keeping up, and yes, Steelback is going to be able to go back and buy at some point and be able to pick himself up the BF sword and the beginning of that Hurricane, but at the same time, he's allowing Freeze to stay even in CS, which Caitlyn against Lucian, normally you want to bully him down. It's all about avoiding Lucian's abilities, and that just isn't happening right now.
Absolutely not happening. Plus 12 CS in the mid lane, plus 20 CS in the top lane. A cull that's already half farmed up on the side of Freeze. And H2K are just in a very good position. They've come out the gates, well, swinging.
Yeah.
And they found multiple connections onto Roccat. Taking a look at the lane setup again, the Australia lanes continue to play out, but wherever Jankos goes, gold seems to fall from the corpses of Roccat team members.
That is pretty much the truth there, Trevor. And honestly, I'm looking at the Roccat draft here and looking at the Nautilus, and as far as top lane picks right now go,
oh, Lee Syndrome, do it!
he gets himself out. That is not one you want to go in on.
Oh, there was no flash.
Yeah.
So he couldn't have flash kicked. Made it look real good.
Yeah, wouldn't have looked great at the end of it at that point. Parang is on a suboptimal champion right now. When you look at typical meta picks, he wants to play the tank role, but his own team banned out the Maokai away from him. That obviously was not available at that point. There were other options if you wanted to play the Gnar that we saw Odoamme play in the last game. But this Nautilus is such a tough champion to get to work, because there are so many bullies in the top lane that are playing the tank role and have damage too, and Nautilus right now isn't one.
And you have to question, why the Nautilus then? What do Roccat see in the pick that a Poppy could have given them? And Poppy was actually Parang's most played, 9 games throughout Korean Challenger. And yes, Nautilus was I think his 3rd or his 4th, but I just feel it gives you more options. Dragon has secured by H2K.
When you look at the rest of Rockat's lineup, they've got a Nidalee, a Swain, a Bard. You know, there is engage coming from it and some crowd control, but it's not as reliable as Nautilus with a point and click. Parang is going to have to point and click his way out of this, but in comes Jankos flash off cooldown.
Oh, Jankos connects with the Dragon's Rage and the Sonic Wave. That's the hat trick. 3-0 for Jankos' Lee Sin.
Well, if he ever wanted to stamp his authority on a game, Lee Sin has always been the champion to do it. Again, not quite a meta champion, still on that tier 2 when it comes to jungle roles, but just the effect of Jankos being in the right place at the right time has had a great, advantage for H2K.
And I'd love to actually hear what the team comms are like in picks and bans, whether or not this is Prolly saying, look, we need some early game, or whether this is Jankos saying, I won't let that happen. I will have a better impact this game. 44 CS. 3 kills to 0. Just doing great work of getting Odo ahead, and he bought all that space for Ryu in the middle lane.
One of the other reasons that we may have seen this Nautilus is actually this Lucian build that Freeze is going. And I don't think this would be the reason on its own, but certainly could play into it, is Lucian with the Ghostblade Black Cleaver build struggles against high resistance tanks. Against the hybrid tanks that want to build damage as well, he's actually okay. And the reason for that is you actually need the percent armor reduction plus the crit strike chance that you don't get from this build to chunk through a lot of armor on super tank targets. So as Freeze goes through the game, he may start to struggle against the Nautilus, and that's if Parang can get himself items. Right now, they've put the Nautilus really far behind, and it's not really going to be until late in the game that Roccat are going to have that advantage.
Yeah, 2,500 gold down in 11 minutes. Only the cowl, only the corrupting potion, and repeated love taps from Jankos in that lane. One gentle love tap up top takes down H2K's top outer tower, and that took 8 minutes longer than should have.
Yeah, 8 minutes extra than they really should have had that tower. And you can see Jankos maybe looking to get himself some of Swain in the middle lane, but you can see that bird is a little too tanky right now. As a Catalyst, the Protector is able to output damage.
Airwaks gets into max range Javelin toss. That chunks down Jankos. He's only got long swords and a warrior enchant to deal with, so no tanky stats. Look, there's a party in this middle lane. Everybody's invited. He's starting to group up. Safe shot over the wall as Vander's just playing defensive duty. Ryu stepping forward, clearing the wave with that Death Ray, already upgraded that Hex Core to Mark 2.
We've even started to see the Mark III rush come out, and the reason for that is the additional movement speed that the Chaos Storm gets. A lot of people were going Mark II into either Abyssal or Morello's, or that first other item that Viktor wants. But if you can get that extra movement speed, carries will just get shredded by that ultimate that comes out. As you were talking about it earlier, the changes to Chaos Storm meant that it doesn't tick as often. It's now every 2 seconds from every half second. But when it does tick, oh boy, does it hurt. The scaling went from 0.1 to over 0.5.
Nuke and a half. Ooh, Ryze, not realizing he was in the bushes and forced to flash away. Took way more damage than he was anticipating. I think you somewhat should have expected that. Jankos had been missing for quite a while and has shown a penchant to hold Odoamme's hand.
Yeah, Odo backs himself away after taking damage, but it was all a ploy to allow Freeze to take down that top tower. Again, H2K are in the lead on the tower push. Traps are going down. He's going to zone H2K away here, but Odo jumps in.
Jankos says not got flash available. Tempered Fate locks up Jankos and Steelback. That'll buy some time for Vander to put a Fisher down. Not Ryze to the side with a boot back under tower. They've got the first kill onto Parang. It looks like Roccat are trying to get one back. Ryu has already used the Chaos Storm. Death Ray takes down Ryze. Javelin toss into Ryu means Airwaks gets at least one for Roccat, as Vander's able to back away. Roccat look like they want to siege the tower, though.
Hang on, though. Freeze is coming down to this tower here with the Braum still beside him. Roccat have to be careful because of that damage that's going to come from this Ghostblade Lucian. If he can get an ult channel off, it would be devastating for anybody that remains on Roccat. But at this point, they concede back away from the tower, and again, are behind on the second phase of this tower push.
Yeah, beyond 4,000 gold behind. Every single lane is winning. Here's a replay of that fight. I think a good kick from Jankos, actually. Send Parang back off that TP.
Yeah, Steelback, getting the damage out from being as far forward as he can be there. Dancing around the tower aggro, doesn't want to end up taking that, but gets caught ultimately by some of the damage from Ryu, and that forces him not to be able to stick around too much longer in this fight once Freeze shows up. For a long time, Steelback was unhurt there, and maybe could have stuck around to do more.
Yeah, I think it felt like Ryu had actually used that Chaos Storm earlier in a trade with Betsy.
Jankos on Ryze.
Jankos found Ryze. So Ryze will die. To go back to what we were saying, CS advantages for everybody. Take a look at that. Plus 10 top lane, plus 10 mid lane, plus 15 or 20 for ADC. Freeze is doing to Steelback what happened to him in the previous game. And H2K are now playing proactive enough to just run away with Azir.
Yeah, they've got leads everywhere, apart from the jungle CS, but at the same time, that's way evened up by the 4 kills that are on Jankos. And we spoke a little bit about Viktor itemization. Nice little dash by Jankos, but it cost him his flash ultimately. We're speaking about Viktor itemization, so picked up that lost chapter. That's the blue book you can see in his inventory. What that signals is he's going towards Morellonomicon. He wants the Grievous Wounds, doesn't want to allow the Swain to heal back up. This frees up Freeze from having to go Executioner's Calling, but Betsy, he's not free at all.
He's not. Ravenous Block will buy some HP. Odo backs away with Chrono Break. And H2K used their Get Out of Jail free card. A tad over ambitious under the tower. And that will allow some movement onto Dragon. If I look at that correctly, that looks like a Mountain Drake. Yep. So it's a little bit more valuable worth fighting over when you consider those sneaky Barons that were tried by both teams, actually, in game number 1.
Also more difficult to take, though. Higher resistances on Mountain Dragon and a slightly higher max health.
Luckily for H2K, they've got the damage to make up for that.
Yeah, they do. They certainly do, Trev. So that Mountain Dragon may be started after a skirmish. Still, though, with the number of towers up for Roccat, they would prioritize towers over the Dragon at this point. H2K, after getting the 3rd one down, may then look a little more solidly at that Dragon. But of course, Mountain Drake will assist with taking towers down. You get that added true damage on the hit onto objectives.
Want to secure it first, though. That's the first step. I'm looking at the wards. I already think I'm impressed with H2K's warding. I feel across both of the games they've had multiple times they've had deep wards. To have the next discussion whether or not they use that optimally is something else we can explore later in the week, I feel. But just look at that mini-map. 1, 2, 3, 4 wards in the left quadrant of the jungle, inside Rocket's blue buff area, and around Baron. I was saying nope, or currently it's Rift Herald, but...
Well, as long as they can utilize it properly, unlike last game, where Ryu went to the other side of the map and pushed out. So we were talking about, would H2K prioritize Mountain Dragon? Answer is yes, they actually, despite it taking longer, have the opportunity. Roccat really couldn't come across to deal with it, and that leaves us with Ocean as the next break to take down, but H2K going into the bottom side jungle, want to push through. Ryze gets a stun. There's 3 people here.
Yeah, Ryze does not want to stick around. That's a Black Cleaver, Warrior Enchant, Lee Sin. Jankos is going to look to insta-gib. Freeze, a little bit on the front line. Already used the dash, gets caught out, but there's not a huge amount of follow-up. Vander, Unbreakable, will block nothing, because nothing needed to be blocked. Odo's TP'd in. And if Roccat can back away safely, that's actually not too bad. They've burned a summoner while being down 5k gold. They need to do that again and again to buy time.
Oh, but Odo's here for a fight. Wants it.
Cannot give up anymore. Only a Rod of Ages for Betsy was finished in about 14 minutes. There's no other items completed. So Roccat had to play the stall game for a very long time. That's a big discrepancy, 4,500.
Yeah, a really long time as well when you look at it. They need to get this Caitlyn into the game, and that's going to be that 3-item point. Realistically, when Freeze finishes his second item, which is going to be delayed now because the execution is falling, that's going to be his real time to fight.
Look at that, 2-level difference between Odo and Parang. 30 CS, 0-3-0. This is 004. Jankos might want to make that 005. No flash. Gonna hop over the wall. Dredge line will connect Jankos. This becomes a 3v2. H2K, Jankos is unstoppable before he's taken down. Shut down by Airwaks. That's a big chunk of change. 450 gold to Airwaks. Team and Roccat, they've got themselves a kill, but the cost of yet another day.
And they're also getting farm now onto Freeze for H2K down in the bottom side. And this was a replay of the top side. Parang has itemized Magic Resist here because he's going up against the Ekko. In comes the Black Cleaver and pretty much full damage Lee Sin to assist with some of the additional killing potential here in H2K. Trade the 1-for-1. They were, as we talked about, getting Freeze some farm down bottom lane. He's got to be careful though, because in comes Betsy. Mid lane is the push.
Yeah, as we jump back to live, Ryze is dead. If memory serves, Ryu only had the single kill, so he may have got it. Airwaks is the target. Glacial Fisher knocks him up into the air, and Freeze comes from the side lane. Culling has also already been used. Despite those line of traps, H2K don't care.
Freeze and Ryu with the who's taking this ace in the hole at that point. A little bit of back and forth here. And I mean, for Roccat, this is such a desperate situation in this game alone. I mean, they've somehow got to deal with Freeze, who's going to have a lot of damage. Ryu's going to have a lot of damage. This was how Ryze got caught out, just Odoamme with one big auto attack to finish him off. And as this fight continued, you could see that Freeze had enough damage to chunk through Parang, because Parang hasn't been able to itemize proper armor yet. He's got the Ninja Tabby now, but still, Freeze is going to be able to shred through once he gets that Black Cleaver completed.
Freeze is currently playing PvE. 200 CS, his team has 8 kills, he's not been involved in any of them just yet. But that is because Jankos is continually pushing for Odo, continue working around Odo. It's quite amazing, we're very close to the stage here in the LCS studio, and I can just marginally hear the pitter-patter of teams communicating and yelling.
Yeah.
Very animated speak as we're standing very close to the H2K side.
Yeah, you can't make out the words, but you can make out the urgency in which the calls are being made. And for right now, H2K, nowhere near as urgent as the last game. There was a lot more noise coming from them then.
But now this is where H2K have to fix the mistakes they did in game 1, and by that, play more proactively. I distinctly remember during Spring Split, a number of teams saying, if you're not pushing the map and playing proactively, you're losing the game. And I feel like that's what happened in game 1 for H2K. Ooh. This time around, they've got so much more power to work with.
Betsy's caught.
Oh, this is going to be scary. Betsy's taking a chunk of the Chaos Storm.
Jankos.
Jankos, Sonic Wave. Let's look for the target. Stand behind me, comes out from Vander. Vander realizes he needs to flash away. Tempered Fate locks him down for a few seconds. Teleport comes out from Parang. Up in the top lane, Vander will go down before the Fisher can come off cooldown. And H2K punished for being slightly over-aggressive.
But H2K on the bottom side have Odoamme now pushing a turret down. Caitlyn is trying to come in to stop that, but look at the damage that's already come down. This turret is going down, and Odoamme is not really going to be deterred by just the Caitlyn here. He can just skip out and take that turret down. So again, the trade goes over to H2K.
So tower number 4 extends the gold lead to 6,000. And like we said, if you... Yes, they gave up Vander's life, but they got a teleport cooldown from Parang. They got an inner turret down bottom, and Odo's got TP advantage.
Worth at that point. I mean, H2K, to give 1 kill for a turret is always going to be worth, and when you're ahead like that, it's, you know, an unfortunate situation that Vander flashes first, and then the Bard ult comes out because they know he can't dodge it, but I guess at some point that's life for support.
Absolutely the case. Also, if you're buying time, you know? Yeah, you lose the cooldown, but luckily for H2K, if they want to wait until that flashes back up to fight, they have the lead to do so.
Yeah. So that Black Cleaver has been finished by Freeze. Welcome to 6.10 Lucian and a couple of other AD carries. The reason for this is Black Cleaver got a cost reduction by 400 gold. And actually, when you compare it to the old Essence Reaver build that we used to see with the rapid fire cannon, has more flat damage, doesn't have a crit strike chance, but equal attack speed and a little bit more when you pop the active. It's an equal cooldown reduction on that build. So it just means that Lucian's abilities, his ult, his Q, everything hurts more than old Lucian will. His auto attacks slightly less until the armor reduction is stacked up from that Black Cleaver.
All right, so let's find out if he can get a good culling down, because that 0-0-0, most amazing build in the world, is not as effective as when you're hitting people with it.
That's true.
Dragon number 3 secured by H2K. That was the Ocean Drake, so that's the second one they've been able to pick up. A lot of swimming going on today. Maybe it's because the two teams' traditional colors are blue as well. Giving them some good vibes here on stage. And Baron is most likely going to be the vision objective, I feel. That quadrant of the map, there's an inner turret still standing there. And we've already seen just how much time has been invested by both teams in the last game and a half.
Yeah, a lot of time as H2K look like they're gearing up perhaps to collapse again on Betsy in the top side. Last time didn't go so well for them. This time, can they make it work?
Oh, big chunk from Siphon Power. But Jankos holds on to the aggressive play this time around.
And they're not able to punish Betsy effectively because of the vision that Roccat have right now. H2K aren't able to come down through the jungle and look to box Betsy in. They have to cut in from the side and hope he overstays. And at that point, it's very difficult to actually deny the Swain just walking away. You can see Betsy in both of those didn't really even have to use anything to get himself out. Meanwhile, the 1v1 is not really going Parang's way in the bottom side.
No, absolutely not. Parang still down a lot of CS, got a couple of cloth armors and Balmy Cinder, but it's against an Iceborne Gauntlet, Sunfire Cape, and 5 stacks on that Dark Seal for Odo, so got a little bit of AP thrown on the side. Very comfortable. And H2K at 25 minutes, extending their lead. Very good dredge line. Odo's got Chrono Break available. Depth Charge is going to follow him. Airwaks decides to back away. Look at the rest of the team. They're on Baron.
It's because Airwaks just showed bot side. They look to pull them in for Baron, but H2K don't actually make the play straight away. They go on to Betsy.
Oh, Betsy's going to die. Tempered Fate will buy some time. Chaos Storm. Tick will come down. Flash away from Betsy, and Freeze is on the board. Gets his first kill of the game. Ace in the hole actually not fired there by Steelback. They've just lost some vision. H2K 5v4. They peel back to Baron. They've got vision control.
Yeah, they've started it as well because they know the damage and lockdown from Roccat isn't quite there, but they're stuck in a pit against the Caitlyn. Traps are coming out. Odo goes in.
He's going to find a target. Odo's looking for more. Ryze is not going to get stunned up. He's able to back away. Freeze has gone really deep. He's taken Steelback down. A little bit of a bravado kill. Parang survives the death ray, only to get hit by Siphon Power. Ryze and Airwaks, they try to find one back, but it's currently 0 for 3. Unbreakable blocks a lot of their javelin damage, and Airwaks is running out of mana.
But again, H2K now, look how low they are. This is actually a fairly risky Baron. They're grouped against a Nidalee in the pit. They may have to peel back and deal with Airwaks, but Airwaks, he's run out of mana. At this point, his last chance is a steal. He's down, and that is going to be a, you know, a Baron aggro juggle coming out for H2K at this point. They're going to be able to take this one.
Yeah, should be easily secured. Group their way up, and Ryze trying to buy some time. Turn their attention. 4 members of H2K. They're looking for more. Never move. locks down H2K and allows Roccat to escape. No one from H2K is taken down.
Yeah, H2K at this point, 5 members strong with the Baron. This was jumping out into the fight. And keep your eyes on how Steelback takes so much damage there from the aftershock after the death ray. Freeze is able to pop the wall, take him out. Dash is in on low health. Aftershock takes out Parang there and really deals with the rest of it. This is H2K's lead just compounding again and again and again, and they're so far ahead right now.
10,000 plus Baron plus James Bond in the top lane, Odo. 6 stacks on that Dark, so rapid fire cannon to back up the Executioner's Calling, Black Cleaver. Now that Freeze is getting involved in the fights, you can see just how actually quite how brave he is playing.
He's always
the size of the lead.
He's always been known for that.
Yep.
I mean, we think back to his days even on Copenhagen Wolves and some of his previous teams. Always the aggressive player. Always wants to be on the front foot. And it used to punish him because sometimes the rest of the teams just weren't ready.
Well, let's find out if Roccat are ready this time. Odo's used Chrono Break. Jankos has kicked Parang backwards. That's his 6th death of the game. And it's Odo that picks it up. His first. Javelin toss tags Odo and does literally nothing. Wasn't the longest distance though. In H2K, they can use this numbers advantage and the Baron advantage to push anywhere they want.
Freeze trying to push in the mid lane now has Vander to step on some traps and maybe at least use that shield to drop the headshot auto attacks that come through. Odo goes in.
Diving onto Airwaks. Timewinder will do some damage on the way out. But tower, that's the objective. Swain's AoE wave clear is going to be so weak against Baron empowered minions. There's the laser birdie. Pew-pewing. But H2K, they get their objective. They get the tower cleanly, actually. And they can even back away.
So we're still swimming, Trev.
Next
Ocean is coming again. Oceans and mountains. That's been the name of the game, these 2 games. So for H2K, I mean, that'll help them the added regen now. They're going to have a 3rd ocean on top of it. It's a whole lot of water.
It really is. And a lot of survivability. The whole... okay.
Doesn't do much.
I mean, if you look at Steelback, 287 CS, he's caught up to Freeze, which is one thing. But it's an Eye-Edge Hurricane Vamp Scepter. There's not a lot backing that up. And Steelback on a Caitlyn, you know it's really 3 items you're looking for. It's going to take a long time before he finds that.
Oh, Betsy and Odo are trading. And keep in mind, Betsy does not have TP. Odo's is nearly up. So if H2K were looking to make a play on the bottom side, they could have maybe gone for that. Freeze has been here so long, these traps are expiring, and Steelback just replaces them instantly.
Yeah.
Got to get fresh cupcakes out. Yordles are not fans of stale cupcakes.
No, they are not. Freeze cares not for the cupcakes, just stands out of range.
Well, they're for Yordles.
So, Dragon will be secured. Touche. My Jankos completely uncontested. Odo's pushing top lane. Ryu was rotating to the mid. Once again, just littering the jungle with vision. And Odo's TP is available. So next objective for H2K, you have to feel it's going to be that last in the turret.
Yeah, I mean, H2K right now, it's the problem is they've got to get past the trap line. They are somewhat past it now, but can they dive? Odo caught out. There's 4 people from Roccat here.
Has a flash available.
But here's the collapse.
Yeah.
Mid lane.
Oh, Steelback is in trouble. He's going to try 90 caliber away. Glacial Fissure splits up the fight and the escape route. No flash on Steelback as he goes down. The tower falls immediately after him. Betsy's trying to run for his life. He's used the flash, he's used the exhaust, and Parang's flashed defensively. Betsy gets pulled back into the team fight and he gets taken down by Freeze's autos. 5 members of H2K turn their attention to an inhibitor turret, but they got no minions left to play with.
Yeah, they need the next wave to come through before they can push. And a lot of people there will look at it and say, well, Betsy, he managed to deal so much still in the rest of that team fight. And the reason for that is, of course, Morellonomicon doesn't proc until you're under 35% health, so it doesn't really affect it. It's only that Executioner's Calling that was going to be able to stop those grievous wounds, but Freeze at that point, or apply the grievous wounds if you'll excuse me. Odoamme from the top side.
Odo's just going to dash back in with a phase dive. Jankos Dragon's Rage is available if he wants to use it. Thanks to the Jankos front line, H2K secure an inhibitor.
Inhib goes down now. H2K look for both bot and top at the same time, and this is what their massive advantage is going to allow them to do. They're going to be able to triple inhib here fairly effectively, although Odo has had to pull back. His minion wave died topside.
Oh, take a look at that. Jankos has gone all the way for Steelback, unable to find the kill. Summon a heal used to buy some time. Flash away. Odo looks for Steelback and finds him. He chrono breaks to safety. 2 inhibitors down. H2K have yet to back. They're all sitting on 3,000 gold. Odo's going to manage to find the parallel convergence, gets the shield up. Freeze on the front line, unable to kill Airwaks, but it may not matter. Dredge9 pulls Vander under tower, and they turn all their attention to Parang. Finally, Vander goes down. That's a solace of a kill for Roccat. H2K playing this one a little bit safe. Tempered Fate sends nobody golden. Freeze still looking to dance with the devil, as it were. The Ravens are flying dark wings, dark words. And Freeze says, I don't care. Manages to run away. Little risky, but H2K get out alive.
Yeah, H2K got 2 inhibs there. Odo had to stop his push in the top side, but we'll take another look at Jankos engage onto Steelback again. Steelback not being able to be finished off in that fight at first forced Odo to come in under the tower to pick up the kill, and from there, H2K playing a risky fight. Coming back in, looking for the damage, and it's Freeze that is getting most of this damage done. Forces Airwaks back out of the fight. Now the Chaos Storm came out from Viktor. So much damage from this H2K lineup with their lead.
Yeah, and it's nearly insurmountable now. H2K will have to make a monumental error to give up the 16,000 gold lead. Baron's up in 25 with supers in 2 lanes. I think the safe option is Baron then finish, though H2K don't technically need that.
Well, the thing is, Roccat, if they try and fight here in a 5v5, it's going to be a tough fight to actually take. And you can see H2K are consistently looking for that engage. They're always looking for it because as soon as they're out of, as soon as they haven't taken damage for a while, those Ocean Drakes kick in, they regen back up, and they can be safe for the next little skirmish. Parang's down in the bottom lane, won't be there in time for the fight.
Yeah, you can actually see Jankos' HP bar slowly ticking up, slowly creeping, despite that chunk he took. Ryu is somewhat separated from the team, but so is Parang.
He's trying to block somebody coming in from the side here, but I believe he was actually spotted out on vision first. Bardol is going to hit Baron.
Manages to delay it for now. Parang teleports in only to be chunked down. The culling takes him out. First victim of the fight as Betsy goes golden with the flock flying around, and he gets disintegrated under the damage of H2K. Taking a magical journey, Roccat will be sent back to the fountain. They take Vander with them, but it's an ace, a quadra kill for Ryu, and H2K set their sights on the base.
H2K are going to look to salvage a point from this series here, and you can see how much it means to Roccat right there. They thought perhaps with the first win they were going to be able to score 3 points, but for H2K they want to even this up.
H2K bounce back in spectacular fashion, sending a message to anybody that doubted. Even the series up at 1-1, guarantee at least 1 point on their opening day. Bittersweet, isn't it? When you see the performance of Game 2 and you think, what could have been?
Yeah, I mean, the adaptations came out this time for H2K. They got themselves onto a very strong laning AD carry. Freeze did a good job just in general in getting them through it, but you've got to talk about the difference from Game 1 and Game 2 for Jankos, really. I mean, gets himself onto the Lee Sin. It's not even the top tier jungle pick that we saw from Game 1, and suddenly...
I would like to explain that before we came on air, the teams were discussing who shakes whose hand in the event of a 1-1 series draw. And it appears meet in the middle was the decision by H2K and Roccat. Good to see some smiles on the faces and hugs going around, because it is a point to side grabs, and probably, of course, chatting about the game to respective coaches from H2K and Roccat respectively. But I think the backpack of the Lee Sin Jankos, at least in the early game, it just set everything up.
Oh yeah, I mean, Jankos getting the first 4 or 5 kills, normally you'd be a little bit worried about Lee Sin getting that, because that's when you can start looking, oh, are they going to go too aggressive? Is it not going to be enough to just have that damage coming through? But eventually works out all right for H2K. They're able to take themselves a point from this series, and you got to look over at the side of Roccat from what was a very good first game. Parang in the second game maybe not quite the same, pick that Nautilus.
Yes, so I think the Nautilus pick is one you have to go back to the drawing board. I'm slightly more inclined to forgive the performance because I feel Jankos and Odo just did such a good job of shutting him down. So it's one of those scenarios where, like last split, where Steve got camped in his debut day and really had a lot of pressure. And you're like, look, there's an element of player mistake, but there's also an element of praise to the opponents for punishing. So I think we have to figure out the balance, right? As